this global community, it's getting bigger by the day. We will break well over 800 by the end of this year. We'll probably be in 40 countries. The country that's closest to us that should benefit from this great synergy in North America is not represented to the degree that it should. And we want to change that.
Amigos de Latinamerica Meetings TV, estamos ya cerrando el mes de julio, terminando un julio muy activo, muy completo y pues con presencia en varios de los eventos importantes, incluyendo Destinations International Annual Convention en Chicago, otro evento que rompe récords, otro evento que tiene números importantes, favorables y obviamente que mantienen en crecimiento esta importante asociación. Y sobre todo, esta conversación nos lleva hoy con un gran amigo, un gran líder, un gran profesional que celebra 10 años en el liderazgo de Destinations International, dejando números récords, dejando un evento que rompe todas las fronteras con un gran contenido, con grandes momentos, grandes conexiones con los destinos y sobre todo construyendo una gran comunidad en el ámbito de los destinos. Así que vamos a empezar esta conversación con Don Welsh, presidente y CEO de Destinations International, y estaremos compartiendo con ustedes datos importantes, pero sobre todo esta conversación es un festejo a los 10 años de Don atrás de Destinations International. So Don, thank you, good morning, thanks for this opportunity to have this conversation. I was just making the introduction to all the viewers that we have in Mexico, Latin America, especially talking about this success event that we have in Chicago, setting new records of attendance, setting new records of people, new lists that we have down there. I think it was 593 new persons coming down to the event. We have, as you were going to share, 27 countries and a set record of 2,033 people coming down to the event. Just a new number, a new record that was set by you, but by you and your team with Destinations International, but also that I'm telling everybody that this conversation will also focus on celebrating you, your first 10 years, success 10 years behind the Destinations International Association. So thanks, Don, for this opportunity. Welcome for this conversation for our Mexico and Latin America community. Congratulations again for a success event for these first 10 years. And we can start the conversation asking you, how do you feel? How do you feel these first 10 years of success, of making a lot of change? You share with us every year all the things that have been happening in the association, but being a strong leader, having this huge challenge to make success in the association. How do you feel these first strong years in the association?
Well, first of all, buenos dias and muchas gracias for that beautiful introduction. Rafa, I feel like right now you sort of covered why this grin has not really gone off my face in the past few weeks. Because first of all, and I want to thank you for your support over the years and helping us grow our base of business throughout the world and of course in Latin America and Mexico. So thank you so much. It was great being with you in Chicago, and I think that when you were there, this was my 10th annual convention at Destinations International. And I think one of the things we're hearing in our survey information is that I think when things are a little bit challenging right now, whether it's geopolitical, whether it's wars, or whether it's all these different things we're going through right now, over tourism, whatever it may be, we found out that when these challenges are happening, when our community comes together, both the leaders and also, as you said, out of 2,000 plus people, nearly 600 were brand new people in the industry. That was wonderful. And I just sense that when we come together during challenging times, our community shines best. And I will say this, there's always high energy in our annual conventions and many of our events. I've never felt the energy as high as it was, starting with the awards program on Wednesday evening and of course the opening event to the closing event on Friday night. I've never felt such positive energy and a genuine, I guess, expression of people that they wanted to be there. So I think that set the tone for a very, very positive event. And of course, we had two wonderful keynote speakers that talked about, thinking beyond oneself and trying to do good for others. And I think that also set the tone for the convention. So yes, we're grateful. We're looking forward to being in Portland next year for the annual convention. And but in the meantime, we're going to celebrate a little bit and build from what we had in Chicago.
That's great. And yeah, we have a really good program. The 4 years that I have been coming to the annual convention, I can always come back with great content, with great relationships with everybody, and the sense of community that you build and you're continuing to build. It's amazing. I can hear it on the hallways. I can hear the DMOs, because that's the conversation that we all the time we have, and I can feel that mood. I can see and I can hear from people that they really enjoy this sense of community, this sense of trying to challenge the times that we're living on today, and our destinations in all the region. Well, now we can also have these challenges in the Mexico and Latin America region, but it was really amazing. And yes, you put us many people to cry with those keynote speakers. The content was amazing. The message that they delivered to us, I think, was really great. But to talk about to our community, to our people in the region, and not to try to take out to the secret your formula, but what do you think has been the success on building every year a really strong event that brings everybody, that I think all the conference, all the different themes that are taking place in the agenda, and selecting these high-profile speakers to deliver this strong message? Because I think when you start with the opening ceremony and you share with us like kind of the sense of family, kind of the sense of being together, listening and seeing all the challenges that we have in our time, what can be your secret when you sit down with your team and say, well, people, we have to come with another great event. We have these challenges, and where do you set? Because every year you have been setting up you have been raising up the level of the event, of the content, of the mood, of the people. Everybody's connecting. So if you can share with us, maybe you're not, maybe you will say, no, that's my secret. I will be kept.
No. More than happy to share it. And it's funny, I know we're talking to a publication that is based on meetings and events, and sometimes we forget to look at our own meetings and events as to why they work sometimes and why you can improve. And I think we always agree, whether you're planning a meeting for 50 people or 5,000 people, you always hope to improve it every year. And that's been our goal. And I think sometimes it really does come down to the fact that we have a very engaged annual meeting planning committee of members and partners that come together and help us weed through the content. And you can imagine, the unfortunate thing of our events is there's never enough time to go to the number of sessions you want to go to. This year was very special when we also, every other year, as you know, we present our future study. And normally we do one session, but we actually did back-to-back this year. And both those rooms were standing room only. We could have probably done 4 sessions, 2 a day, but nonetheless, I think, Rafa, what really has begun to be the hallmark of ours is we have multiple size destinations, from a small destination that may have 2 or 3 people and a very small budget, all the way to the New Yorks and the Los Angeleses and the Torontos and European destinations. We try to build programs that have application to everyone. And we've actually even separated now some of the content. Some of the breakouts are intended for the smaller budgeted destinations because they have to do more with less. And it's a very creative group that comes together. So I think by listening what the members want and need will always be a hallmark of DI, is the way we operate. We exist for one reason, that's our members. And we quickly get report cards of people saying it was worth the time, it was worth the investment. But I think this year, in addition to our own content, the content of our partners, and the content of our two keynotes, Justin Wren and Andre Norman, it all sort of came together in this beautiful, cosmic, global way. And like you said, we had people saying, I was crying 1 minute and I'm laughing the next, multiple days. And that goes for me as well. And I just think it was some magic. And again, being in Chicago during the summer, it's there's very few places that can beat it, having worked there before. So I think, and it came together, everyone came there with the right attitude from the beginning to the end. And I think that was the magic secret this year, and we're going to hopefully carry that through our events for the remainder of the year. But we know what we have to do in Portland next year to take it to the next level.
No, that's great. Yeah, that was amazing, and for sure everybody will be ready to see what's coming in Portland. Great destination, and congratulations again on this way of listening to the membership and to build a really program that goes, as you were sharing, from the smallest destinations with the budgets, challenging budgets, to the high and strong destination. And what I can feel is like, everybody's open to talk to everybody. Like some of the big destinations are really on a low profile to be open to give some advice to the smallest one. And I think that's really kind of the sense of community. So congratulations again, because that's provide through an association that is organized, that is trying to really get the sense of family and to help each other and come out in the good times and in the hard times. So and then you have been in destinations, you have been a professional behind the destinations, great destinations like Chicago also, but now you're listening you have information from all the destinations. You have kind of the power of all the destinations. So you might have maybe 5 things that you can share. You're listening on the trends, on the future of the destination, something that you can share, and you might think, well, yeah, and now I can listen from the smallest to the medium to the high, big size destinations. Many of them have the same challenges, budgets or marketing issues, but some of them have different challenges. But something that you might think might be your 5 top recommendations, or 5 of the top trends you're seeing on the future of destinations?
That's a great question. And I think you're right. We do have a chance now. Before, when we were very U.S. centric, our point of reference for the most part were our U.S. destinations. Now, with almost 800 destinations in 38 countries and territories, we have more of a macro level of things taking place. Here's the one thing that is taking place, Rafa, and that is the word advocacy is evolving every year when it comes to our industry. And I think if you look at the word advocacy, particularly in the U.S., a lot of that has to do with local politics, state politics, federal politics, of how you're going to address the funding issues, which is something we've become pretty proficient at with our advocacy work. They've done that. If you look at other parts of the world, including our friends in Canada, they have other needs for advocacy. When we look at our 30 plus members now in Europe, their advocacy right now has to do in many cases with over-tourism, or challenges amongst their local community between the local citizens, the elected leaders, and the DMO in that community. What role does that destination organization need to play in order for there to be harmony in that community when it comes to welcoming, whether it's a meeting or event, or whether it's welcoming leisure tourists from around the world? So we really learned this whole advocacy by really being attentive to the members' needs, and they are varied. We look at particularly at our friends in Mexico and our friends in Canada right now. We've tried to do whatever we can to be that great listening partner right now, as the sovereignty issues of both countries have been questioned by the current administration. We're trying to be the intermediary to make sure that somehow, regardless, you're part of the global community. Our 70 plus members in Canada, with a Canadian chair now, they're part of this ecosystem. And we work heavily on that. So advocacy to me is probably one of the bigger areas. I also then look at AI, and AI seems like it's so rapidly changing, whether it's the creation of an RFP for a meeting or an event, or how that destination is now represented from a leisure tourism standpoint, what's real versus fake, what are the things that are true and genuine to that destination. So AI is going to play a critical role and is playing a critical role to where we're heading right now. I think the other areas that we have to do, and that will always be tying our branding and messaging back to the local community. It really is an adjunct of advocacy to make sure that as you grow your tourism organization, does it align with the brand standards of the people that live and work in that community? Are you representing your city in the truest fashion to the people that live and work in that community, not only in the tourism industry, but to people who are the civic leaders? So I think that is a tremendous responsibility and a major shift in the last probably 5 to 7 years of a CEO's role. They've also had to become political experts in their community as well. So the days of just being a good old sales and marketing person like myself for many years, that is the old role of a CEO and a DMO. Their role is much more complex, much more holistic, some of the things we talked about, and of course being really good on the financial side. I then get excited about new parts of the world that are just beginning to get into the tourism industry, and there's probably no greater place in the world than Saudi Arabia, as we know right now. Right now, I don't know whether the number is still 1.3 trillion. That was the number of new projects under development a few years ago. I know right now the number is 880 billion that is in various stages. So you start looking at a part of the world that for the most part was never really a focused area for tourism or meetings or events. And I'm fascinated with what's taking place, not only in Saudi, but also the Middle East in terms of, I see ads now living here in the States. I see ads for Doha and I see ads for Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And that really was never really the case. So we're now playing in a global competitiveness for business. And with the airlines now being able to get on an airplane to fly literally more than halfway around the world, you can really get to your destination rather quickly. So I think there's a whole dynamic. So, there are just a few of the things, but you can't get away from the basics of we have 10,000 people now as part of our 800 members that are in our pipeline, that are in our communications channel. That's a goal we had. It wasn't long ago we were at 5,000 people. But, when you have 10,000 people now that can communicate in a portal, it really does bridge the time and distance when there's an issue or an opportunity. So that's what I'm most encouraged about. And believe it or not, our real growth of this organization occurred during and after the pandemic, because people were looking at a place to go to in other parts of the world that maybe weren't as responsive. And so I look at the work we do as an organization. It never stops. It has to always be adaptive to what our members want and need at the time. And we just have a very responsive team and a very dedicated team that understands their roles. We have 38 team members at DEI, but we have a lot of great volunteer members at our boards who lend their support as well. So we have a whole big ecosystem that works towards helping during these challenging times.
Wow, that's amazing. And those numbers and those suggestions that you are seeing as kind of the trends of the future, really interesting. And like you're saying, the Asia, the Middle East, and those regions that maybe years ago we didn't listen a lot, or we thought it was only desert. Now you can see huge cities and huge tourism destinations, and all focus on the tourism issue. So, well, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing those kind of trends. And just trying to start closing our conversation, one of my really important questions that we need to get strong and focus: what will be your wish list, and how can we help, and how can we deliver a really strong message to our Mexican and Latin American DMOs or destinations? How can we help them, or what can be the strategy for next events and for next annual convention to tell them to come and as a kind of a starting point. But I know all the year you have activities, you have meetings, you have many tools that they can rely on and they can use to get more strong as a DMO, or to promote better the destination. As we can see, even with the politicians' challenge that we have in the region, many of those destinations are willing to improve in the attraction of tourism and meetings and events. So what can you share, or a specific message that we can share with them through this channel, and make a strong invitation to them that we're going to help them to come next year to the Portland event, but still we have 1 year that we can work together with them and with you, and have a strong Latin American community down there in the event.
Rafa, I appreciate you asking me that question, and probably if you've known me pretty well, and I'm fairly honest and direct. Whatever we can do as an organization to encourage our Mexican destination partners. At one time, we had close to 20 destinations within our organization. Unfortunately, with some change at the presidency level, and of course, I don't need to talk about what that did to funding and others, it dropped to a handful, less than a handful. And I think those that know me, I've had the good fortune of working in Mexico since the 80s, when I used to work for Westin Hotels and Resorts, which was Camino Real. So I've got a love affair of Mexico that goes a long way back, including the marriage of one of my daughters in Playa del Carmen 2 years ago, for about 100 people. And I have such a love of the country that whatever we can do to encourage our DMO partners, destinations, do not let your budget impact you from choosing to come to DI. We can work with you on that. We have Gabe Cedar, who heads up our global development. Gabe has as much love of Mexico and the Latin countries as I do. So this is a very personal way. If there's an interest to be with us in Portland next year, do not let the fact that you may not be a member now stop you from coming and seeing what we do. And we will find a way from a budget standpoint to make it affordable for you to come into, because right now, here's the sad thing, Rafa. This global community, it's getting bigger by the day. We will break well over 800 by the end of this year. We'll probably be in 40 countries. The country that's closest to us, that should benefit from this great synergy in North America, is not represented to the degree that it should. And we want to change that. I'm coming to the end of my tenure at DI, and nothing would make me happier to somehow get back to the level that we had of Mexican participation from a DMO CVB standpoint in the next year or two. So Don Welsh at dwelsh@destinationsinternational.org is my email, and feel free to send me a note if you don't already have Gabe's. But let's do what we can to have great Mexican representation and Latin representation next year in Portland, and if not sooner.
Okay, perfect. So we are throwing to all our Mexican and Latin American destinations the DI challenge with Latin America meetings. We will work hard to get a strong community with the association and for the event. We have 1 year, we can prepare, we can do it, we can. This is not showing to anybody but for us, because it will be benefit for our destinations and for our community to get stronger with an association that is making all the hard work and is doing really good for the destination. So this, I'm going to put it in the final comments in the video. This will be the Destinations International Challenge for 2026. We're going to have a really strong community coming down to the event and still trying to get together with the association. If they, as you are saying, if they cannot be member right now, but still open to receive information, to see how they can really get more closer to you and to the association and to the community, and work hard with them. So that's a really, really very important message that we want to share with everybody. And well, for final remarks and for celebrating this year, these 10 years, I think people will like to know, this is kind of a special section, special space, like share with Don what do you like when you travel, the music you listen when you travel a lot. What's your preference of your best food or your best dish you have ever tried all around the world? And any recommendation of any book you might say for personal purpose, kind of like you think this can be a book that you read recently and you say, well, maybe it's not that for business, but for personal growth or for like family times, this is my recommendation.
Well, thank you. That's a loaded question. Well, first of all, I say this in all honesty. For the past decade, my drink of choice, I'll get to the food in a second, is tequila. Okay. I had the good fortune to go to our friend Eduardo Chillo's daughter's wedding in Jalisco, tequila rather, and to be able to be in that region, I'd never been there before, to see where tequila is made was quite exceptional to me, and the process, it was just reinforces how special tequila is. I've had the good fortune, Rafa, I spent most of my years in the hotel business with Westin and Ritz-Carlton, and I travel, as you said, no less than usually 100 to 150 days a year my entire life. So eating has become a really important part for me. And I really do like some of the regional cuisines that, whether I'm in Mexico City or the Yucatan or somewhere where I have a tendency, I love, I can recall a fish dish in Puerto Vallarta years ago, where of course the fishermen went out, you had a chance to identify the fish that was caught. It was stored, had your name on it, and you ate it that night. I don't know whether anything gets more special or memorable than that experience. But yeah, I think when you combine a great meal with good friends, business colleagues, whether it's a meeting or event you're attending, whether it's a business trip or, of course, family, that to me is part of one of my joys in life. And regarding books, I read a lot. I read a lot of newspapers. I wish I could say, and I think when things slow down, I'll probably find a little bit more joy of reading novels and books and maybe some nonfiction. But I talk about a book a lot, and it's served me well both professionally and personally, and that is Good to Great. And I talked about it in Chicago. Okay. And I try to believe it sort of keeps the train on the track for me, talking about my personal life and how that sort of translates to how you live your life. And then, because I think right now that one of the things that I'm seeing in successful leaders building organizations, they surround themselves with really good people. They surround people with high character and high morals and high ethics. But more importantly, when you try to build an organization, you build yourself around people that you like and respect, that have those, because when you've got that, you can accomplish anything. And I think part of the success we've had at DI in the last 10 years is we had to go through some growing pains, don't get me wrong. But the people that are with us now, they're people that will help us build in the future. And when you get to that point, it's no different. You attract people like that who see your organization and says, you know what, I like the way that place is run, or I like the way they operate and their people. And you're able to build organizations, and you're able to really go through some tough times when you've got people that have that type of character and tenacity. So I don't want to oversimplify it, but that to me translates not only to a business but a personal standpoint.
Okay, that's great. And I know your music, you like music, you're close to the music. So one of your favorite tracks that you might say you have in your top 10 playlist?
That's a tough one. I'm sitting here looking at a guitar right on my wall right here that I don't play, but the reality is I am a fanatical music person. It's something, I don't know, maybe in another life I did, or maybe I'll do it in the future. But, somebody always asks me that question, what's your favorite? I got to tell you, there are probably 2 or 3 artists, but I got to go back to Coldplay, and I got to go back to some of the artists that somehow when you go see them in person, and John Mayer or whoever it may be, you leave that venue and you leave that experience happy. And I think the world we live in, whether you find that happiness in Broadway plays or whatever it may be, mine's music. and music is comforting and it's motivating, but I'll listen to everything. I will listen to everything. But if I had you're pinning me down, Rafa, to a track, or an artist, I'd have to say probably a Coldplay, a Sting, people like that. Pretty mainstream, but there's some incredible young artists. The Dermot Kennedy out of Ireland right now, and it's pretty cool artists right now in the world. And of course, country is exploding right now.
Yeah, that's great. Not to take this wrong, but in all the associations that I have been or working or been in their annual events, I think DI is the most musical association, and I think the program is the best, the content, the networking, but everybody is waiting to the closing night, and this was not the exception in the House of Blues, with great music, with the players from the industry. Like that's amazing. There's a lot of talent in the DMOs, and so that's great. And I think everybody loves to have really good music all around. Well, the opening in Chicago was also amazing. I think people feels the vibes and feels the music, and I think that's the best way to start a really strong conference. So, well, that's what I asked you about the music, because we are a lot of people that really are around the music. We love the music. I think people like us that travel a lot, the best companion sometimes is some good music in the planes, in the transfers where you're going. I think that was a really, really very important question for you. So, Don, thank you very much for your time. Really, really thanks for all the things that you have been doing. These 10 annual conventions, these amazing numbers. This is just, as you say, you're really thanking everybody in your team. You thank everybody in the community. But we need a strong leader to make this happen, and that's you. And I have been 4 years in the annual convention, and I can see the development. And you were sharing numbers since I went to Toronto, and it's amazing. I'm a witness of the success. This is not something that I can see on a press release. I have been witnessing this strong, how it's getting stronger and stronger, and the growth of the association and the community. So this is kind of a special place that I wanted to share with everybody in Mexico and Latin America, because I know you're really close to our community. You really care about what's happening in hard times and in Mexico and everything in the politicians' side, but still you are there. And so this was a special moment that I want to share with you, to the community, to our readers, to our viewers that see all our content. Congratulations on this first 10 years. There will be more and more, I'm sure, and for more success events and for more success in your professional career. But still, we know you're also a family guy. You're a really good friend. You have a lot of friends that really, really are near to you. So that's the best way, I think, to celebrate, looking outside and seeing how you have really built a strong relationship with people. They respect you. They have a friend in you. I think many of us like to share that we are friends, and that's the important thing. So really, really thank you for your time, for this opportunity, and to share with everybody. Congratulations for these years and for all the success you have been working on Destinations International.
Yeah, Rafa, thank you very much. Your comments are very kind, and we're humbled by it, and we're going to continue to work real hard. Here's my offer to my friends in Mexico, because I've been on stage with them, and I know you got some great singers. I know I've watched Dario, and I've watched Eduardo, and I've watched Rodrigo, and a few other people. So let's do this. Let's get a great number of Mexican destinations in Portland next year, and with the DI House Band, we will do a couple great songs and showcase the musical talents of the DMO leaders in Mexico. So that's an offer. Now we need to get the right number of people to come in and do it. So I assure you, we will take you up on that offer.
That's going to happen, and we will make sure that happens. We have 1 year. We can really be prepared, and I'm sure Portland will be a really special event that we will showcase all these activities.
It'll be a great place to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. And well, we will share with you when this video is uploaded and with your team. But right now, thanks for everything, and have a great vacation. Really good moment to have with family, and thanks for everything.
Thank you, Rafa. Always great to see you, and thank you. And I'm sure I'll see you definitely somewhere between now and Portland. But thank you for your time today.